All right, here we go.
Joy
Brian, you ready?
to the world.
Oh, festive.
Jojo. Do you know what movie that quote is from?
What? What quote?
Joy to the world.
I'm going to say Clark Griswold.
Yeah, he plugs in the thing.
Yes.
The lights. One of my favorite movies. All right, Joe, how are we today?
Excellent.
Okay, I got a good topic.
All right, I'm ready.
Pet peeves.
Okay.
I have a few.
All right.
Now, some of our listeners might not appreciate me saying some of these, but
Okay.
I'm a man of truth and integrity, and I have to say what I feel.
Okay. Get it all off your chest.
My
We're
number
ready.
one pet peeve.
Okay. Oh, how many of these am I going to qualify for?
This is a weird one. And again, I don't want to offend anyone because I love animals, but pets in stores, to me, there's a time and place. If you have an animal and it is something that you need to get through life, I get it. But if you're just afraid to leave the dog in the car for a second when you run into Giant Eagle and you have to bring the dog and carry it, that doesn't even bother as much as this. This is the biggest pet peeve. Pushing pets in strollers. I can't tell you how many times I've been somewhere, Home Depot. I see someone pushing a stroller. I think, oh, it's a baby. I look.
It's a dog.
It's Fluffy the dog.
Okay.
That, and I love dogs. Don't get me wrong. But that, I don't know why. It drives me nuts. So that is a big pet peeve of mine.
And you give an exemption for service animals,
Right,
or whatever,
100%.
like that. The blind dude, like you're not going to begrudge him.
100%. Bring that dog anywhere. But the dog that's just a pet, which again, I know pets are part of the family. Again, I'm a dog lover. I love them. I've had them all my life. I appreciate them. There's a time and a place.
Yeah.
And when I go to look in your stroller and it's not a baby and it's a dog, I saw one dude, he had a thing that carries babies and there was a cat in there. I go, dude, you're carrying a cat in the store.
Yeah.
Your cat's going to be okay. Leave the cat at home. That bothers me.
Okay. I'll give you that one.
Another pet peeve.
That was a literal pet peeve, by the way.
Oh, touche.
Didn't even notice that in the beginning, but
Well
yeah.
done. Posting pictures of your injuries on Facebook.
Okay.
You cut your thumb wide open. It's infected, whatever. I get it. Don't show me the picture.
It's gross. Nobody wants to see that.
No one wants to see it.
Nope.
Hey, I had this happen. Okay. And then I'm like, ah! That is a big pet peeve of mine. I don't know why. It is. I don't like seeing those pictures. And the last thing that deals with social media, for me, and again, I don't want people to take me the wrong way. If you lose a pet, which I know to some people is like a family member, you need to preface it early in the post that it's a pet that passed away. Because I can't tell you how many times I've opened up a thing, I start reading about lost a family member today, so sad. I'm like, oh man, someone's mother passed away, someone's grandmother. We lost our pet rabbit.
And you were emotionally invested by you get to the fourth paragraph.
You gotta tell me it's a rabbit up front. Don't put this lost a dear family member today, and I'm like, oh shit, I feel bad. Fluffy the gerbil died. Oh my God! Put a picture of Fluffy up so when I start reading, I know we're talking about an animal. Those are pet peeves of mine.
Okay.
All right, what are your pet peeves?
See,
I don't know if we have enough time.
I get annoyed by everything.
Okay, all right.
But
Wait, did what I mentioned annoy you at all as far as a pet peeve?
any of those ones?
Yes.
Well, they just you saying them created a little anxiety
Okay.
inside of me.
Okay.
And I think when people are, and I'm with you about the service animals, but I think a lot of people abuse that system and they really like Fluffy, and so they like marry Fluffy into that system, and then they abuse people who actually need the service animal versus the one that just likes having their
Feels
dog
like
around.
they want.
Yeah, that annoys me a little bit. I would say
Okay.
a lot of the things that annoy me most happen in traffic. Inconsideration.
Okay, well,
is a
let's talk
big
about
one.
traffic.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
And I don't know if half of it's just ignorance or half of it's just people don't care enough to be considerate with you. They're cutting you off. They're I don't know, waiting till the last minute to merge into a road. It's just totally inconsiderate.
I think people should have to be required to take driving tests more often.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yesterday, I'm driving in traffic. 224 is a zoo right now. So but I wasn't on 224. I was on Market Street, and I went to switch lanes. And I check all my mirrors. I check my blind spot. I didn't see this lady next to me, so I go to cut over, and I hear. Brrr. I'm fine with that. I appreciate the horn. Thank you for letting me know. My bad. What I didn't appreciate is then after I moved back into my lane, she proceeded to drive by, and when She drove by. She gave me one of these. And that pissed me off.
Yeah.
The horn's enough. You know it was an accident.
You
I
got
was
it out of
not
your
trying
system.
to cut you off. You beeped the horn to signal me to stop. I stopped. Don't give me a hand gesture. She didn't flip me off, but she gave me I go, that made me mad. The horn didn't make me mad at all. I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. But this,
You know what the most disarming?
inconsiderate.
Like I got a fit of road rage one time.
Okay.
And I was so mad at this guy, and I pulled up alongside him, and I was just about to give him the old hand gesture.
Okay.
Probably not as good
Right,
a one.
right.
And he went like this to me, and I was like,
Wow.
now
Okay.
I feel like the dick and whatever. So, yeah, you get it caught up in that moment,
You're allowed to get mad and angry. Just you have to gauge it, I guess. All right, pet peeves, go to you. Anything specific like come to mind? Like those 3 things specifically drive me nuts.
How about people who ask you how you're doing and don't really care about your response?
It's so customary to say, "How you doing?"
I'm good.
Right,
Just to
I'm good.
Leave the moment. You really don't mean it. So those insincere, cliche
Okay.
type things.
My
really
dad had the
annoying.
best phrase. I'm going to start using it. I just told someone the other day I'm going to bring it back. So ask me how I'm doing.
How you doing?
If I was any better, I'd be twins.
There you go.
That's a great response, right? My dad used to say that. I thought,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring that back.
Yeah.
How you doing? If I were any better, I'd be twins.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good one, right?
Yep.
Because you're right. People don't want to know, oh, sit down, let me tell you how I'm doing.
Because if you did, people are like, man, I'm never asking that question again.
Right. I think it's just a subconscious thing. It's one of those things. Hey, how you doing? All right. Any other pet peeves?
No,
So the driving and
you could just put an asterisk and say all other things, and
All
that's
other
in my
things.
camp.
All right.
Everything annoys me.
Okay. You mentioned something that's happening, and I think it's going to come to fruition soon. The cooking show. I'm curious about that.
Okay.
So I saw that post, and I thought that's a pretty good idea. And I pictured you like the chef on Muppet Streets. Right.
Yeah, I'm
So,
terrible.
is it
at
gonna
cooking.
happen?
Oh yeah,
I saw the video
Yeah.
with you and was it Kravitz?
Jack Kravitz. was
Right,
on.
right,
Yep.
Jack Kravitz. So how are you gonna do that? Like,
So the original deal was we have a lot of unsung chefs, people with real talent in this area,
Okay.
and we know 1 or 2 of them, but there's a lot of them that are doing really good work that never really get highlighted or on TV or whatever. So I want to kind of pluck some of those talents out and then show the rest of us how this crap's done. Like not from a I don't want to become a culinary
Okay,
expert, but
okay.
I want to take a couple of really good dishes and figure that one out.
oh, that's a cool
So
idea.
like steamers, for instance,
Okay.
I love their Hungarian hots.
Okay.
I've tried to make it a bunch of times on my own, and I suck at it. But if that chef would show me how to do that one,
That's a
I would
cool
totally
idea.
do that one every Saturday night.
yeah, and you could spotlight the chef,
Heck
give them
yeah.
a little plug, and then
Give them
they
a
can
little-
teach. So it wouldn't just be you doing the cooking
No,
show. You,
no.
Okay, you're gonna bring in the professionals.
Yeah, I might be there as some comedic relief, but that's it.
Could you do that in the studio, or you need a kitchen?
We tried doing
How
it
do you-
once when we cooked
do you-
it, and there was smoke filling,
Okay.
bellowing out of this. So we're gonna actually do it up at Chofin. They have a
Oh.
kitchen. They have a bunch of students who want to learn this
Good
stuff
idea.
anyway. But yeah, so all we got to do is capture the audio and video, and we got a good thing.
Okay, I like that. Oh, you posted something else.
Oh no.
This was awesome. I even commented on it.
Okay, what do I do now?
I can only comment once in a while because I can't go down that rabbit hole because you post 50,000 things a day. So it was regarding, and I think we even talked about this a long time ago. Sebastian Maniscalco, who's a comedian, does this bit on drop-in visitors from the 80s old school
Yes.
to now. So back in the day, it was, come on in, you stopped what you were doing, you brought out the good Entenmann's, the stuff that was reserved that you talked about for only company. You'd make a coffee and you'd sit and relax, and it was wonderful. Nowadays, 2023, someone knocks on your door, you're like,
Hi,
buddy. Shh, shh. So Sebastian Maniscalco does this whole thing. Grandma's crawling on the floor. He's like, get down. Who the hell's here? So I am a fan, I'm not going to lie to you, of the drop-in visit. I am, and I know probably sometimes it's not the best, and I can read people pretty well, so if I'm popping in and I can see you're distracted, I'll leave. But I don't mind the pop-in visit with me. There's a time and place, I guess, where you need to be mentally prepared for who, depends on who it is that's popping in. But I don't know. I'm a fan of it because I like old school traditions. So if someone were to pop into your house, you even said on a 7 o'clock at night, you don't know how you'd react.
Right? I'd be like, what do you want? Like, and think about it, but culture was almost ready for the pop-in. So they were mentally prepared. They had stuff. They had food prepared.
Right.
They had a special place setting for that. So when it happened, they were all excited about it.
Socially acceptable, more culturally.
But now you're not kind of in that mode. We're so much busier. We have so many things scheduled into our day. Like, I can't think of things that my evenings are already planned. There's stuff we're going to do coming in. So if you showed up at 6 o'clock, I might want to hang out with you. But I'm thinking like, well, we're doing budgeting, or we got to set up these purchases for something we're doing this weekend or whatever, and it might not be able to do.
Throws a wrench into your plan.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not that you don't appreciate the drop-in visit, but you can't give them the focus that they deserve, so to speak, because you're focused on something else. All right, that makes sense.
And I think a lot of our evenings were unallocated when I was younger. I just can't remember too many scheduled things happening every once in a while,
Right? Now it's like, boom, boom, boom. But back in the day, it was just, I don't know, easier. I mean, not, phone calls. It was a phone. It was a rotary. It was, so I think the drop-in was more socially acceptable back in the day because technology wasn't as present as it is now. Now you can figure out where someone is all the time, what they're doing.
And I was a little resentful because the drop-in stuff was always better than the stuff we ate on a day-to-day.
Oh, right.
You didn't have access to it.
Right. Like, your mother would say, don't touch that. That's company stuff.
Pizzelle.
Yeah,
I like pizzelles. Nope, not for you.
I would hope company would come over so I can eat that shit.
Right.
Airline travel. I drive to New York every time I go. We talked about that before. I'm just tired of the flights. It takes me, I was in Long Island this week. Takes a little bit longer going to Long Island opposed to the city or even the outskirts. The George Washington Bridge, it's hit or miss. It could be a shit show sometimes. Sometimes I can go right through it. So 7.5 hours, but to fly, it takes me 6 hours. I mean, listen, we live in Youngstown, so I drive to Pittsburgh. By the time I drive there, park, get in, say an hour and a half. You get there an hour to hour and a half early. Even though I'm TSA approved and clear approved and all the access, it's still, I've been in the TSA line pre-approval where it's just as long as the other line.
Yep.
So I always give myself an hour and a half. I'd rather get there early, have a beer, a cup of coffee, and relax. So now you're 3 hours into it. And then even if it's a direct flight to New York, they say it's 45 minutes. Nothing's 45 minutes. Okay, so it's another hour and a half. So now
you're 15.
Right. So now you're at 4.5 hours. Then by the time I land in LaGuardia or JFK, that's a crazy thing. By the time I get my rental car and get to the building, it's 6 hours later.
Yep.
So I just drive it in 7.
On pace, less stress.
I love
in
it.
Control of the time.
No delays.
Now, do you orient where you're going to be to get into New York at certain times so you avoid some of those?
I used to.
You just arrive when you arrive.
Right, because now I've driven to New York. I've hit the George Washington Bridge at 8 a.m. I've hit it at 2 p.m. I've hit it at 10 p.m. Shitty every time.
Yes.
Does
absolutely.
not matter
Yep.
the time. The only factor with time is that 5 o'clock going into the city, it's pretty good. It's coming out. Everyone's leaving work at 3 or 4 or 5, and then that's
Snarled.
rough.
Absolutely.
Right. And same with the Long Island Expressway. I was on that the other night. I'm like, oh man. But I was going away. Everyone was coming back home on Long Island, so it wasn't bad.
Now, what's your tolerance if it's over X amount of hours of drive?
8 hours.
8 hours.
8 hours I'll drive. Anything over that I'll fly.
Okay.
I used to drive to Nashville a lot, which could take 8.5, 9, depending on it. But I liked my own pace. But I fly there now all the time. 8 hours. So I drive to New York. I drive to Jersey. I drive to Philly. I drive to Chicago because I can make all of those in 8 hours or under. I like it. All right. What's on your agenda?
I don't know, man. Let's talk about the upcoming year. We get to the end of the year. We start planning for what happens in the first quarter. New, improved. Any resolutions? Any changes you want to make?
No, I'm not a resolution guy. Okay. If I want to make a resolution, I'll do it on a Tuesday. I don't need a specific date. And now I do like the fact that January 1st is a specific date, and it kind of gives you that platform to really say this is the day I'm going to start new. But you know me, we've talked about this before. If I want to lose weight, I'm not going to wait until January 1st to do it. Even though it's a nice, soft opening, and I'll do it on a Tuesday if I want. So
I mean, it is a nice catalyst that if you wanted to think of a change to make, it's a cool thing to give it a little, trial run in the month of January.
Right.
Most of them do not work out. People bail on them, and by February they're back to their old program. But at least it's very acceptable that everybody else is trying new things to improve.
Which I do like. Too. I like that. But I don't want people just to wait till January 1st.
Right. Do it all the time.
I mean, if it's April 30th and you want to do something, do it. You know, so yeah, I have no New Year's resolutions. I'm gonna have a good year. I got a lot of my gigs already lined up, so I know where I'm going, and it's gonna be smooth. Speaking of gigs, I did hear on May 9th in downtown Youngstown. There are going to be 2 speakers for sure, maybe others, we're not sure, on stage at Ford Theater, Dior. What do you think about that?
I am stoked.
'Kay.
It is.
Do you know the 2 guys I'm talking about?
They're pretty dapper young gentlemen who are going to really put on an amazing show.
Yeah, so put it on your calendars right now. May 9th, the Joe and Blasko Show is taking the big stage. Ford Theater, Dior, downtown evening program. It's going to be on a Thursday. Get a babysitter for the kids. Go out to dinner. Come see Joe and I. Have fun. Learn. Laugh. Make it a nice evening. Appreciate yourself. And that's going to happen. So we're going to keep you guys posted with
And
regards
we're going to talk
to
about time travel. You
Yeah.
cannot miss it if there's time travel involved.
Right. I've heard him talk about time travel, and I'm still confused. So I'm curious what version of Joe will show up. The
All
2024
of them.
version? Is it the Joe from 1997? Did he travel here? So it's going to be interesting. He'll focus on time travel and things of that nature. I'm going to focus on personal development, motivation, things that I like and think people can
You're going to
use.
be made more whole no matter what.
Right. You're going to walk away just feeling kind of good about who you are and what you do. And if you take a few nuggets of information that you didn't have before, it's a beautiful night.
That's right. And I've been to the show, and it's amazing. I'm telling you.
All right. Cool. We're plugging ourselves. What other topics do you have? I'm done. I mean...
Yeah, your travel schedule. How do you bounce back when you have like a
tough.
gauntlet of a couple weeks worth of nonstop, and then you get a chance to exhale? How do you not just melt into a puddle of goo?
It's a great question. So this is my tired day, I'll call it. So I was in New York Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, I'm tired, but not as tired as the next day, which today would be Friday. So when I'm on the road with my one client, I told you I speak all day and all night because I do the different shifts in the long-term care facility. So I'll do a speech at 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning, 1 p.m., go back, take a break, and then I'll go back 9:30 at night, 10:30 at night, midnight, and do all the shifts. So after doing that for 2 or 3 days in a row, I'm literally a zombie. And it's tough. Sometimes I'll come home, I just need my peace and quiet, I need to decompress.
Yeah.
And then I just know that I'm going to be off for a couple days, and I bounce back pretty quick. Because, honestly, it's not manual labor, it's mental labor, but I'm not swinging an axe. I'm not working in a steel mill. You know what I mean? I'm just talking, which I love. And I'm doing some executive coaching now with another client, and I just love sitting down with people, talking one-on-one, figuring out what they need and want, and then if I can help them achieve what they're looking for, that excites me. It's like it's work, but it's not strenuous, if you know what I mean. So my decompress and bounce back time isn't as much because it's not physical. It's just mental.
All right. So how do you keep, like, I'm a germaphobe. So when I go to new places, I know I get exposed to new people. I know I'm getting all these germs in my body's not used to. And I'm like, when I get back from a place, I'm like, if I don't do something, I'm going to be sick 4 days from now. Same thing with the holidays. You get around relatives that you're not normally around. So what's your health regimen for?
Don't have one.
Do not.
The dude on the plane next to me can lick my face, and I'm not going to be bothered. I mean, I'll be bothered to lick my face, but I'm not going to be bothered about a germ.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm lucky, blessed, fortunate that I don't want. But when the bed bug thing was out in New York and New Jersey years ago, I was traveling like a maniac. I was there. I went right to bed.
Just don't stress about it.
Don't even think. I don't. No, I don't know why. I think, knock on wood, that maybe they're white antibodies. I think they're good. I truly think I fight off because I really don't get knocked down sick, and I'm not jinxing myself. Fuck it. I can't say the F word, can I?
No.
Huh? Are we allowed to say that on the air?
Sure.
I'll say F it. I'm gonna do what I have to do because if I go through my day worried so much about what could happen to me, I'm not gonna enjoy the day. So if something happens, it happens. And I've been fortunate, blessed, call it what you want, that I've been pretty lucky. So I don't have a regimen. I know you probably are spraying things down with Lysol or no.
Dude, I have 97 steps that I go through when I'm around someone who might cough in my direction.
Okay.
And for the next 2 weeks, I'm in this immune system cycle that I do not want to get sick.
Do you eat a certain thing or drink a certain thing to help prevent it?
Yes.
So we're being proactive instead of reactive.
Yep. Yeah.
What do you do proactively? What's your routine with regards to if you know you're going to have to travel, not in your motorhome, I'm talking on a flight. You're going to be in a hotel. You're going to go to New York for 3 days with the family. What do you do prior to getting on that plane?
All right. No sugars whatsoever. That's pretty easy for me to do.
Yeah, that's
Cut
like
down
every
the
day.
carbohydrates. That's pretty easy for me to do.
But
And
wait, why those things?
Well, viruses have a really easy time. They replicate super fast when they're giving the fuel to do that. So you deprive them of their fuel, they slow down, and then your immune system has longer to act on them before they just blossom. Dairy products, same thing. It's like miracle grow for all of that stuff. So I just stay away from the things that help those viruses progress. Second thing, I just give my immune system a bunch of extra stuff, zinc and vitamin D and vitamin C. My supplements are up. I eat raw garlic on a regular basis,
which is healthy.
Really healthy. But I go to an extreme. I like do 2 cloves a day for, a period of probably a week and a half. And garlic's a little rough on you, from the people that have to be around you to
it stays with me for days. It stays in my pores. I mean, if I eat garlic and it stays with raw.
Oh yeah.
Not even pickled. Pickled garlic's good. You ever have pickled garlic? Like, they put the cloves.
Yeah,
in
not
there.
the same.
Not the same.
Okay, so when you eat garlic raw, it produces a thing called allicin, and it basically it's the garlic's reaction to a predator eating it. It tries to ward it off, and that's actually the antiviral that you're eating. If you cook it, then you're cooking out the allicin. You don't get the one good antiviral.
Oh, okay. So raw. So you're literally going to take a clove, smash, and eat
right off. And I'll eat it along with some food. Like and again, I'm not eating carbohydrates, so you can't even put it on your spaghetti. So I'll crumb up some hamburger and put it on garlic on top. So not exactly a culinary delight, but it gets it in me as quick as possible.
So that's the pregame routine. How about on the plane? Or in the hotel?
I'm pretty good.
Are you bringing your own sheets?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I'm pretty trusting that way.
Okay.
The stuff that's coming in, I'm breathing in, so I try to hold my breath if people are talking too close or sneezing in my direction and whatever. Hold your breath for 30 seconds, let all that stuff die down, and I feel better about that way. Touching stuff, I wash my hands 1,000 times a day. Like, I really get that crap. I don't
soap
like
and
to touch
water, or are you
doors.
more of a what's it called?
Sanitizer, hand
like
sanitizer,
Purell and stuff.
Yeah,
like
try
that.
not to use sanitizer very much.
Dries you out?
Well, it gets rid of some of the good bacteria.
Oh,
you don't want to really kill the bacteria.
Okay.
So I use just regular soap and water.
Soap and water.
Yep.
You had to be a wreck during COVID.
No, I was actually great because I knew all those gross people were staying away from me.
Okay, all right. So maybe you became a wreck after things started opening up because then you're thinking,
like,
how many people are still sick, but they're still coming out?
Put that mask on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I could see you.
Oh, it was bad.
Oh my God. All right. And then when you come home from the trip, anything different?
I continue
Did you go back to your regular diet?
Yeah, because I got to get a break from the supplements so they actually are effective. If my body gets used to them, it doesn't have the same.
It builds up a tolerance, and then
exactly. So I got to drop it for a couple weeks before I get in on it again. But if I feel a throat tickle or something coming on, I go right back into the heavy zinc, heavy vitamin D, and whatnot.
What's the one thing that's a preventative? Airborne, I think it's called. They say pop airborne before when you feel something coming on. I don't know if that's something you use.
I've never.
You just go straight
I
zinc.
think airborne had a problem with too much zinc, or the way that they were administering were hurting people's smell and taste. So I bailed on airborne a little while ago. But yeah, it has zinc in it, so it's definitely
good.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, well, let's do a conspiracy because this is my favorite segment of the program.
Oh yeah.
Are there any one of them that interests you that you want to talk about? Because I'm usually fully loaded on all of them. Any conspiracy?
It's funny you said that because I just read something on Facebook. Someone posted something about conspiracy theories. I thought it was you. It was. And I looked at the name and go, oh my God, it's not Joe writing this. Someone else is writing. And a bunch of things popped up. Booth acting alone with Lincoln or not acting alone. The JFK thing popped up on that thread. Obviously I'm a firm believer that it was not just Lee Harvey Oswald. There were multiple people involved with that, in my opinion. And if you ever go to, I want to say it's Dealey Plaza in Texas, where I've been there. I went to the book depository. I did the whole tour. It was very cool to see all that. When you take all that into consideration, it's just more. Bigfoot popped up. Aliens popped up. Ghost popped up. I don't know.
Well, let's generally talk like if you have,
But those aren't conspiracy theories. Like, you know what I mean? Those are just things. Conspiracy theory would be one person, the magic bullet. That would be a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
So, give me one.
All right. Well, generally speaking, like if you have people that have enough power to be able to control the governors of our perception and whatever, then it's really not hard to believe that those people have the power. Like if they're like, John Smith's causing a problem, let's just kill him and get rid of him, and then nobody's gonna notice.
Have that problem anymore.
I'm gonna bury it in some kind of story and say it was XYZ. So I don't trust a whole lot of anything anymore.
All right, let me ask you this. Here's one. Moon landing.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Do you think in 1969, Buzz Aldrin, actually it was Neil Armstrong, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It was actually July 20th, 1969. And I know that because when I do my talks for high school kids, I talk about the significance of one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And I always kind of parlay it into, as a student, the next step you take is not for mankind, it's for you. And just remember that every step you take in life, you shouldn't be doing for someone else. You should be doing for yourself. So that's how I know it's July 20th, 1969. Man walks on moon. Do you think it happened?
Portions of it.
Okay.
I think it's portion. I think it's a 50-50 split.
So you don't, okay, well, go with, the 50% of you that does believe. What makes you believe it happened versus was it in a studio somewhere set up? Because that's what I've heard. You hear that the man it was a studio in Hollywood. They made it look like the moon. They put, because the shadow of the flag is the wrong way, the wind.
Yeah, we were at such a race with Russia,
right,
Soviet Union, to get there, and I think a lot of it was playing up our capabilities that were more superior than our rival, and so maybe some of it was in perfect presentation quality to be able to embarrass and say that we did this before.
Okay,
I think it was the first time there, and I think our, especially the first one. I don't necessarily think we were as ready as possible. So we may have sent equipment, maybe a person made a deal, but it wasn't what you saw, people bouncing around and having a good old time.
Walking,
with a
hitting
perfect
golf
camera
balls,
and all of,
planting the American flag.
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe a version of that happened, but we're not watching that version when we're watching those videos.
Okay. My question has always been, well, then why haven't we gone back and re-videoed? That was 1969. 79, 89, 99, 2009, 2019. I mean, we're 50 years later. Why haven't we have video of people walking on the moon again? Is my question.
Yeah, because it's freaking hard.
Right. If we did it in 1969, it's 2023. Why the hell can't we go back there and put someone on and literally have a good... I mean, you could take your iPhone if you want and video someone walking on the moon. That always bothered me that we didn't go... I think there have been missions back, but not to the extreme where... the whole world's watching. Neil Armstrong takes that first step, and
anything that was a dramatic, perfect representation was probably fabricated and put together. And maybe we may have had the backing where it happened, but we don't have perfect camera quality video of it happening. That was a recreation.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned.
Okay. All right. So there you go. There you have it.
That's why I say 50-50. So did Neil come down and jump on the thing? Yes, but not the perfect version of
that
it.
We
we're
saw.
Used to seeing it. Yeah.
Okay. That was the Hollywood version. They wanted us to make it seem okay.
Yeah. The marketing side of NASA.
Right. Again, part of it to make us look better than the Russians. I would think, like, hey, we did it. We beat you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they were beating us in the space race with regards to cosmonauts. I think they're called cosmonauts if you're a Russian astronaut. Like, we're astronauts, they're cosmonauts. Is that the name? I forget.
Comrade.
What, comrade?
I don't know.
But there was a name for a Russian
what...
astronaut. It's called a cosmonaut. We're called
it.
astronauts. I don't know. But now we're living in harmony in the space station. That's true, right? The space station's up there.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So did you see that picture I posted the other day? And it basically had trillions of galaxies represented in one image.
Yes. It was a color thing. It looked like a... Yeah. Okay, explain that.
So each one of those dots was a galaxy. Trillions of stars within that galaxy. So you got the Milky Way galaxy. That was trillions of them. So we're talking about trillions of planets and stars in that one frame.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around it. Right. That's how big it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did think that when you posted that. I
And
thought,
the
wow.
closest one is 300 light years from us. 300 light years to the closest one in that picture.
Wow.
So when you're contemplating space, it takes light traveling at 186,000 miles per second.
300 years.
Yeah, 300 light years.
That's unbelievable. Right. Not even years. Light years.
That's a distance.
Gosh. How do we know that? Like numbers to that degree blow my mind. Like, for example, when they find a fossil and they say it's 3.5 million years old, how do they know it's 3.5 million or not? Because to me, 3.5 million is not much different than 1 million. Although I know there's a difference between a billion and a million. I think maybe you posted the idea and concept of a million seconds is 30 days and a billion seconds is 31 years. Or something like that. And I think you posted that at one point, which is mind-boggling. The difference between a million and a billion. People don't think it's that. But I mean, a million seconds is so many days, and a billion seconds is 31 years.
Right.
Wow. I don't know how they. Do you believe in the numbers they come up with when they find a dinosaur fossil? I mean, they say it's 4 million. How do they know it's 4 million, not 2 million?
All right. So this, if all of us learned in grade school, you have the scientific method. In order for something to be provable, you have to be able to replicate it and whatnot.
Okay.
These are all theoretical measurements where there's no way to take something from an era that you knew that exists and see if what your method would properly date something.
Okay.
So you have this theoretical, like if a certain atom releases so many electrons and then it does that over a period of time, when you look at that atom, you can count the number of electrons that it's gone, and you could be like, oh, that must have been happening for X amount of years.
Okay.
That assumes that everything stayed constant in that period of time, and those electrons behave exactly the way they did before. And so just adding up something and being okay that it might have some, margin of error, but having a metric to be able to tag it on. Now, if you were to get in your time machine and use that process to go exactly to that time period, you'd probably be really wrong, because it's only theoretical math instead of actual provable.
You'd be
math.
wrong with the numbers and the year. Okay.
Yeah, from when things happen. It's almost like if we said something happened on this exactly 300 years, and then you go back 300 years, and you're not even you're close to the time frame, but it's so much variance from when it actually happened. It would have been impossible to hit you on that exact date.
That's why when I get into the millions of things, this
accuracy goes like
4.5 million years old.
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Well, I mean,
can't be 2.5 million, because you get in the millions. I mean, years. I mean, I don't know. It's just wild.
I use a better example. Like if you take the ice, building
Polar
up
caps?
in the polar ice caps, and you're like, okay, in a constant deal, 1 inch of ice built every single year. So you cut down, say, oh, there's an inch of ice. Let me go down 30 inches, and that's 30 years. And you go down another 100, and that must be 100 years. As long as the world was the exact same through that 100 years, you're right. But what about on year 7 that it was super hot and only did a half inch? How would you know?
Right.
So theoretically, you had some consistencies in the beginning, but you're assuming that everything stayed exactly the way it was right now, which might not have been the case.
Which reminds me of trees. So when you cut a tree, I guess the number of circles on the stump is how many years?
Yeah.
But do you think the same thing can apply there? Maybe they had an off year and they didn't grow at all. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like,
could you find a tree that
There's 50
decides
circles,
not
so it's
to
50
grow
years
that
old,
year,
right?
like during a drought, or just not as many resources, or it was too hot or too cold. Yeah.
Yeah. Supposedly, as it grows, the rings continue.
Right, but it's useful though, because at least you have a metric
can gauge
to be able to compare things. But I wouldn't program my time machine based on that math.
Okay. Speaking of, how is the time machine coming? Is it almost ready?
I use it every day. It's fun.
I would love to look in your garage.
I wanted to see.
There's going to be a DeLorean in there.
I wanted to see what the May 9th event was like.
Okay.
And so I wrote myself a letter, right? But I needed to have stuff in there. So I went and visited the May 9th event so I can put stuff in my letter. And I will open this letter on the event. I already saw myself doing it.
Were we good? Was it good?
Oh, it was really good.
May 9th, put it on your calendar.
Yep. Glorious self-promotion. That's
Boom.
what we do here.
Peace.
We good?
We good.